I look for
Infographic.
so, like this one.
I think so.
I love to spell things. This one? Holy
Yeah.
Okay, it is kind of cool. So it's basically,
And it's all editable, and they have really cool graphics.
I do like that. So I've actually done Canva, Keynote, Noun Project, and Creative Market. You play with Creative Market?
I haven't played with that.
That one you'll like a lot too. I'm going to tuck this away because I need to remember this. So the cool thing about Creative Market is you'll really, I download things that I can use in other places. So like, yeah, you'll like this one.
Have you tried Logoist?
No.
Logoist is pretty good.
This is going to take a second. Hold on. So Creative Market is basically like an Etsy for like digital stuff, right?
Right.
But every week you get 6 free digital items, like whatever they are. So I go there on Monday and I'm like, I kind of want a new font, or I want like a background, or sometimes they have slides or whatever. Sometimes they have brushes. So I have a whole in here. I have a whole. Under Creative Market, I have a whole suite of like just stuff that I go get, like torn paper or or just all kinds of different things. Like they have chalkboard textures. So I go there and then I just pair it with stuff. And I've actually paired it with a lot of the Canva stuff too. So I like when I can get a template, but then I also like doing things with the template that I couldn't do. Like it's not. That's why I like having this kind of stuff, and I like being able to pair it with other things. That's really cool. Okay, I feel like I do need to probably buy that. So it's just basically like, it's not even a program. It's just a bunch of, or is it like an add-on when you open it up? Like, what does it look like?
I'll show you.
That's very cool.
So the programs I use a lot, I use Logoist. So Logoist and
Very cool.
Tumult Hype is. Oh yeah, I'm doing a hero's journey, so I decided that I'd make it like a Monopoly board. So then there'd be screenshots of all the different moments going through it. And I'm even going to make some little cards. I'm going to turn it into a poster. And then for the
Are you
American
sharing
Dream,
that out?
I will when I'm done.
Our English teachers would flip out.
So
They would love that.
and that has in the belly of the whale.
Love it.
So,
love it. I love it.
but I'm also doing American Dream. I'm going to do American Dream like life board. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to have like little infographic things off to the side. But let me bring up. Okay, so here's infographics. And
so when you go into like, it's under extra slides or something?
so there's all, and then there's.
I also feel like I need to. Oh, they put it right here. Nope, keep going. I just wanted to make sure I have this.
Yeah, it just looks like really good magazine level kind of infographics.
No, I
Just
like
going all
it
the way
because I
through.
have to create that crap from scratch. And I like Canva. I do.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't know if you saw their most recent update on the web where like now it's like the menu bar is above everything.
See, even something like that looks cool.
It looks cool, and it would take me forever to create it otherwise. So I love that.
Yeah,
I'm not making a mess of things. And I
Without
also,
that, I've been using the Instant Alpha a lot. Doing
yes.
cutouts
Yes.
and just like.
I wonder if this would be easier to like.
Oh yeah, and then there's the original template that I used.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And then the cool thing about that one, so like your English teachers will probably like.
Sorry. I'm just gonna put this on.
Oh yeah, I'm messing with you before you present, so yeah, it's all good.
Well, I just want to make sure that it's not like.
There's a video that you can watch that explains the grammar. There's peer learning, so it's when you touch it, it gives instant feedback saying whether it's correct
Wait,
or
so you
incorrect.
created all of that?
Yeah, I created
Why
this.
is this not on? Hello?
I created
Sorry.
this in Tumult Hype, and then that does HTML, right? So it's basically a touch and interaction. Like you touch this, then this happens. So it's actually not that complicated. I learned it from Anthony Delora, and then I put that into a file, and because I normally originally just put that in iBooks Author, but then I exported it as a folder HTML file. Then I sent it to Tony Vincent, and then he put it on his Dropbox. And then when he did it with the Dropbox share folder, it becomes a link. And then with that link, I can just give students this to where they can go to that.
Oh, because he's got I gotcha.
So any of the students can use this no matter what kind of thing that they have. So I turn that into a QR code, and then that's what they have on that. And then, so I have some on that. And then on this, I did a superhero flipbook. So here we have a basic sentence. And then
it's like a...
And then the sentence part and the picture changes as you go.
Oh, because it's one of those like 3 things. Will you send me the link to that?
Well, yeah,
I would love for you to.
I put this one on, so that's just all on Twitter on the iPadpalooza hashtag.
Okay, I need to go look at it.
But it's a fun thing. All right, I'll let you get busy to present.
Yep, thank you. I want to talk later, though. Okay. Do you?
I'll be.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Introducing you and all that stuff. So
okay,
we'll be starting here in a few minutes.
No, that's totally fine. That's good. And then you have my audio. Like everything should play well. Okay, I'm gonna leave this.
I'm just gonna introduce you. I'm Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
Yep.
Dave from Apple.
No.
No?
OU. Used to work at Apple. Worked at OU. So.
What'd you do at Apple?
Worked in higher education in the campus stores division in colleges. So I
very cool.
Oklahoma, Texas, through Florida,
Yeah.
Mid-Atlantic, Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and Utah.
So you know, Maria moved up.
Give me a last name.
Henderson. No. And Jen Spilly's in our area,
I worked with some a lot with account executives.
Yeah.
But the DEs worked with some of them.
So you know this gentleman who came to our incubator, I'm sure. I don't know his name, but apparently he's the head of Apple sales.
Oh yes, he's new. He took Stephanie Carrillo's spot. Whenever I left, Stephanie had left about the same time, so I know who that is. His name's such an odd name.
They were like, come see it. I was like, I'm in a principal's meeting right now. I cannot come. Like, I don't think the principal would be too happy that I walked out of the meeting to go see the head of Apple sales. Like, but I'd love to. Awesome. Okay, so I think I have everything. I'm using Keynote.
So what we'll do is once I introduce you and all that stuff, as I start to introduce you, I'm just going to read the blurb that Dan gave me.
Okay, if it's really long, like
No,
just seriously, like
I can get it in 2 breaths.
like you can ad-lib. I really don't care. It is not. I don't. It doesn't need to be word for word.
Trust me.
It's just like obviously I wrote it. Like so.
We got this. We got this.
I mean, I spent a lot of time being creative when I wrote it, but
Right.
because I like metaphors and
We got
food-themed
this.
language. But really, like you don't have to.
We got this. It's going to be fun.
Do they have pencils and/or pens in their?
Sure. I'll
Can I?
tell them while I'm doing some housekeeping.
That they'll need it for a later activity.
Yeah, I'll tell them as we're doing housekeeping.
It appears that they do. So as long as they just have access to it, because I have an activity at the end, so that'll be good.
Yeah, I'll tell them in the beginning to start digging around and find the pens and pencils so they'll be ready for you and all that stuff.
Going analog and all. Yeah. Okay, I think this is good. Why does this not? Oh. I have a timer on this one. That's annoying. So this one, oh no, look at that. You only have it if you do it that way. That's interesting. I don't want that.
Wanted to double check to see if everything was okay.
Yeah, they check everything. So this is really just a dummy unit that I'm going to use for my own purposes.
Okay.
So we're good. And I feel like the audio's good. I feel like all that's good. So
I'm looking in the back there, kind of monitoring.
Cool. Cool.
Quick response.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. I think
So
that's
we're
it.
going to be using the computer then.
I'm sorry?
So we are going to be using the main. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm just using this because I need my, like,
Your notes.
I need a, what do you call those? There's a name for them.
Monitor.
No, they're like, there's a fun name for it. But yeah, like one of those, like where it's like my next slide.
Concert.
Yes. But I feel like there's even another name for it. I am like, it's really going to bug me now that I don't know it. Oh, it's okay. It's fine.
All right.
Yes, I'm good. Everything's good.
You want me to just like start swapping stuff out? Since it's 3 minutes to go time, we can like turn the music off and.
They're going to do an intro, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I feel like, does it need to be closer to me? The mic?
A little bit, yeah. If you put it on the inside of
The inside, that's what I was thinking. So, like, flip it.
We can actually.
Oh, move it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you'll do that, that'd be perfect. Perfect. Oh, thank you. I didn't want to do that because
Yeah, you never know. Or
I want to break anything. I feel like that would not be good to do before. All right, I'm good.
okay.
Hello. I am everyday people. No. To dance, really? I mean, oh, you're pushing the limits of my morning coffee. My morning coffee. I do want to play with that tool though. Recently?
Yeah, because I moved it to that.
I didn't see it recently.
So basically, like in here, what you could do is I could take, like, I could try and keep it perfectly still, take the pictures, like here, and like different poses, and then you could use that and just stitch them together to make
Oh, like a panel.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I do a lot with photo booths where I just do like that purple background and just do it in different, like every day or every few days, and you can like see different things. Like this is all essentially photo booth and Canva, but I haven't updated it in a while.
my biggest thing that I'm working on right now is I'm trying to get celebrities to strap into my concert. Leonardo DiCaprio still has not returned my text.
The text.
Or not my text, my tweet.
Okay. Well, Vanilla Ice retweeted something that I put out there, and then he like wouldn't actually respond. So I feel like he has like an automator on something.
Margaret Atwood replied to me.
Really?
I'm trying to convince her to show me. And then I'm trying to set up something between City Beach because we're doing
Yeah.
because it's saying like James Scott Jermaine sounds kind of off, but really like football players they come in the first section. They're basically given a lottery ticket. So they can talk about like they would have anywhere you want. Yeah. They would also be able to talk about how much which site how to break down to them.
That's true.
And then also on race expenses, which ties into racing funds. So,
Wow. You've already thought this out.
yeah, so I'm trying to, well, first I was thinking it'd be really cool if I could do the NFL, and then I started thinking about how people play. But
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make sure this is up. Sorry. Just wanna make sure my thing works.
About another 2-3 minutes to get started.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know whatever they. Oh, they're coming in. They're coming in. Okay. Everybody gets their coffee. Yeah. You want me to go ahead and start up? What's up?
Testing. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let me hear you again. Do I need to keep playing hot for teacher? Okay. All right. Give me something to ride on, man. Everybody, okay, good morning. Welcome to iPadpalooza 2016. How's everybody doing? Good. Favor, stand up. Get up off your feet. Get on your feet. Stand up and cheer. Cheer loud. The reason why you're here today. Woo! Let's let them hear you. There you go. There you go. Okay, you can sit down. Okay, you can stand up. No. Okay.
Yes, you can have that.
Just real quick housekeeping. There's somebody out here I saw earlier that brought a drink in. Where are you? We were talking about it. Okay. I'm watching you.
Drinking too, sorry.
You know, it was a
It has a lid though.
it was a struggle. You had one teacher said, I'm not gonna break the rules, and she was drinking as fast as she could, and the other one's like, excuse me, and just kept on going, right? So I thought, well, I'm gonna hang out. I was always that kid, as you can probably already tell, who was always in trouble and having some fun. But let me pull up my little cheat sheet here of things that we've got going on. But while I'm doing that, who all was here yesterday? Well, a lot of that. Did you keep your badges? Remember that little talk we had yesterday? All right, just making sure. First off, I would like to obviously welcome everybody to Norman, Oklahoma. Hope you all made it through all the construction. We're very proud of what we have going on. There's a lot of planning that went into this, shutting down basically every road in and out of the city. There's a lot of planning that went into iPadpalooza, so I first want to give it up to T-Dog, Terry Cullen, and then A-Dog, who, without Ann Beck and her leadership and her willingness to just keep smiling and going around the corner, and I don't know if she was sipping something or whatever, but she has done an amazing job to pull all this together today. You're going to have a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, today's Saturday, yesterday. All right. Ann, have you updated this? Hang with me here. No.
I have a noisy bottle now.
Oh, I see what you did. Okay, I see what you did. Okay, so let me tell you about these next two guys. They do not have a 10-second delay on this microphone, but they're sitting at the front, so if they do need to tackle me and tell me to stop, we're going to see who's got the faster reflexes. Right, see, right there, right? These two gentlemen, they don't know the story I'm about to tell. It was about a year, maybe a year and a half ago or so. I saw them eating lunch at Legends one day on Lindsay Street. Is anybody familiar with that? If you can get on Lindsay Street today, good luck. Seriously, there's like 2 dead ends, right? It's the greatest thing ever. But anyway, so I'm having lunch at Legends with some people at the Norman Public School Foundation, and I look up and I see Dean Garn, who's been here for a while. I'm not going to say how old he is. And then, yes, you got that. And then I saw the new dean from the College of Gaylord in Journalism, right? And they're over there having lunch, and they're talking. And when I look back on that moment right now, I realize one of 2 things that was going on at that point in time. One, they were either talking about that they probably thought they were the best-looking men on campus, and they probably did want to get a calendar started. I don't know, maybe they'd want to sell it in the mall and do the 16-month because they had so many great headshots from Glamour Shots and all that type stuff. Or 2, they were really, truly developing and building a partnership. And I can honestly say that a year and a half later, I still have the calendar, and yes, they have developed a wonderful partnership. I don't know what the conversation was. I don't know if it had anything to do with iPadpalooza. I don't know if it had anything to do with current students, job openings around the country, incoming students, grad students, teachers, journalists, whatever the case is. But I can honestly tell you, and this is no lip service, this is the honest truth. There are not another pair of deans, collectively or individually on this campus, that I can honestly say truly care about what they're doing. And they care so much that they joined efforts to bring this to you yesterday, and they're bringing it to you today. So, they will be selling calendars after the event, but for right now, let's hear from Dean Kelly.
Thank you, I think. David Goodspeed, our Assistant Vice President for Digital Innovation here at the University of Oklahoma. I don't think he introduced himself, but all of you would want to know who this crazy character is who made you get out of your seats at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. I am the Dean of Gaylord College, as David said. We are really glad you're here, particularly on a Saturday morning. I know there were a few of you here yesterday. We're glad that you're back for day 2, but we're expecting an even bigger crowd, perhaps as many as 300 people between here and the Rainbow College right across the South Oval today. So that's really, really exciting. Now, a little housekeeping note. If you're sitting in what I would call the regular chairs here inside this great auditorium, on the right arm there should be a power plug. So if all of you are worried about, hey, I'm going to be here all day long, I'm going to be texting, I'm going to be tweeting, I'm going to be taking photos, whatever, and I'm worried about my battery going down, on the right arm there should be a power plug. So hopefully that is of help to at least some of you. Like I said, we had a really good day here yesterday, and David is right. The relationship we have with the College of Education here, those of us here at Gaylord College, I think is the most natural one on this campus. I told the group yesterday, because it's real simple, both of us are keenly focused on producing what I call educated citizens who can go out in the world and make this great state and this great country of ours a much better place. I remind our faculty members, my fellow colleagues here at Gaylord College, that educators do the most important work on earth. And the fact that all of you are here today on a Saturday morning after a busy, busy week. I bet some of you had to work a football game last night, wherever you're at, okay, football. I can't believe it's starting now in August in Oklahoma. But you worked the football game last night, and then here you are again on a Saturday morning. But again, to me, that really shows the dedication that all of you have toward your profession, and it truly is a profession, and your commitment to the kids of this state and of this region, and to send them out, whether they're 5 years old now, they're 18 years old, they're going to graduate next spring, but send them out into the world. All of you today who are teachers and employed, your inspiration certainly to the younger ones who came back for day 2, the students that are in the College of Education that Dean Garn and his faculty are working to send out to eventually take your place in leadership roles, particularly in whatever school systems you may be in, whether it's in Oklahoma or beyond. And that's a very gratifying and humbling thing as well. So thanks to those of you who were here yesterday. There was a lot of chatter last night on social media about how beautiful this building is. Believe me, we do not take this for granted. Much of this building is because of gifts from the Gaylord family in Oklahoma City. I had the good fortune to spend much of my career working for the family, and I can tell you, I can assure you that if they were here today, they would be so very pleased and honored that there are so many people here, educators, teachers, who are so committed to what this state must be going forward, what this country must be going forward. Like I said, they would be humbled and honored that you are here gracing us with your presence today. It's going to be a lot of fun. iPadpalooza, what a great name. First time ever that iPadpalooza has been held on this campus. There's been a few around the country. This is the first time ever here at OU, so we're honored to, again, host with my colleague, Greg Garn. iPadpalooza 2016. So I hope you all have a great day. Take advantage of the building, the technology in the building, and I'll be around in case you have any problems. Give me a call, stop me. I'll be happy to help. If I don't have an answer, we've got lots of people here who can help. So without ado, my colleague, Greg Garn, the Dean of the Rainbow College of Education. Greg?
Thank you. Good morning. I wanted to just sort of plant an idea for you guys as you're sort of navigating through the different events today. And just sort of reflect for a second with me. How many of the conversations that you've been in lately about what you do immediately take a negative turn? I don't want a show of hands. I just want you to kind of reflect on that for a second. I suggest today we completely flip that script. Completely. You guys are going to get access to some amazing colleagues, people in districts next to you, people in your own district that you maybe didn't understand some of the great things that they're doing, and then some people from across surrounding states and halfway across the country. That's what I want us to focus on, because I think so many, and I don't suspect that it's just me, but so many of the conversations immediately take this crazy right turn into negative A, B, C, D, and all the way through. That's not why we got into this work. We got into this work to be inspired by colleagues, to work with kids and open doors and increase horizons. You guys will see some ideas today that will allow you to connect with kids, to be better educators, to enhance learning in ways that you don't often get. So please take advantage of it. And what I suggest, the best way you take advantage of that is through community. Connect with some people that you maybe know a little bit, but you really get a sense over the next 6 or so hours today. Meet somebody you've never met before. Actually reach out in one of these sessions and think about, how can I network in a way where in September and October and May, this is somebody that I still pick up the phone or that I still text with to get an idea, to share a solution, to commiserate on a challenge that I'm having with my group. That's what great teachers do. That's what the best teachers out there I see every day doing, is they're not doing this work in isolation. They're exactly what you're doing here, is coming together to figure out, how can I be better? That's what I want us to celebrate in education. Increasingly, I think we need to own that conversation, and I think today is a great start. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. We touched base on some of the people that have made this possible, but Annie and Terry and some of the other folks here, I really want you, if you get a chance, if you see somebody in one of those turquoise t-shirts, lots of folks from Gaylord, lots of folks from Rainbow College of Education, please pat them on the back and say thank you. This is above and beyond what we ask them to do to structure the experience that you're going to have today. So if you just give them a thank you, think about how that works in your life. When you get that letter from a kid years later, or maybe at the end of the school year, I would ask if you would just do that for our folks today, because they are here above and beyond to really try and provide an extraordinary experience so you guys can start the school year in a great way. So with that, I would just have you explore. You are going to run into, and I think you'll get a great glimpse of that, beginning with our keynote speaker here, some really extraordinary ideas about how we integrate technology into learning in a way that connects with motivation, enhances communication. There are a number of ideas that I think are going to come out of this. So with that, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending this Saturday with us, and have fun today. Thank you.
Okay, so here's what I want everybody to do real quick. Anybody on Twitter? Okay, anybody go to church? Because if you start following me, you're going to go to church. Secondly, everybody take out your phone real quick. Yesterday, we were number 2 on trending. Is that what it was? Number 2 trending? It'd say what?
Oh.
Really?
All right.
You know how hot dogs are made. We can do better than that, right? Just saying. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Everybody, the hashtag we're going to use, I don't care what you do. You can take a picture of yourself, your badge, Dean Garn, somebody say boo, each other, whatever. But I want you to use the hashtag IPLZA, and then, of course, per our branding guidelines, capital O, capital U. So,
Of course.
whenever you're ready, on the count of 3, we're going to do this, okay? Because I'm going to take a picture of everybody doing this. I don't know what's happening.
And then I'm going to take a picture of you taking
I don't know
a
what's.
picture of everybody
You want
else.
to take a picture of me taking a picture of everybody?
Yes. All right, you ready?
Okay, ready? On the count of 3, ready? We're going to tweet it all one time. 1, 2, 3. Tweet.
That was fun.
Let's see what happens. Did the internet work? Did Al Gore win? My picture came out sideways. Amen, brother. Thank God for Al Gore. Okay, so let's keep going here. Real quick, want to thank all the sponsors. I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. Tab Pilot, I don't have no idea what they do, but it'd be really smart if you went over to their booth and checked it out. I'm just saying. But we've got lunch today from Sooner Legends. They're also located on Lindsay Street, surprisingly enough. It's a great place. It was actually started by a friend of ours, and it's pretty neat, right? He had a vision and he had a dream, and he took a dilapidated hotel and turned it into an amazing place and an amazing restaurant. So when you think that it's impossible to take that one kid, think about Sooner Legends. Did you like that? It's Saturday morning. Obviously, College of Education, Gaylord College, all that stuff. And then one that is, one that's near and dear to my heart, One University Store and Technology Playground. Part of my role, besides being a fire starter on campus and doing certain things like that, because Kim Thomas in the audience can attest to that, is we also have 2 technology stores here on campus. We have one where students and faculty, staff, and can come in and purchase technology cases, cables, and all that other kind of stuff. But there was a vision about, we're going probably about 4.5 years or so ago, by President Bourne, who said he wants to figure out a way to get technology in the classrooms, drive down the cost of education. The easy, low-hanging fruit, that type stuff, was digital textbooks and all that type stuff. But the One University Store is a near and dear place to my heart. It's run by the students. It's also run by Lisa Thomas, who's not here today, but Stacy Stice. You'll see her down the hall in the glass fishbowl. I don't know what we call it here at Gaylord College, but I call it a fishbowl. But anyway, it's got a lot of emerging technologies, a lot of things you've seen, probably things you have in the classroom, probably things you have not seen. But it is part store, part playground. It is open today in the Union from 11 to 3. I don't want you to skip any of the speeches today or the events and stuff like that. But if you do have time and you need to get out or whatever the case is, stop by and check it out. There's the Vives in there, the Microsoft HoloLens, there's a digital sandbox, there's all kinds of cool and emerging stuff. The really neat thing about it is another 2 things, is that we go out into the schools. A lot of people, college students, some faculty, some staff say, why does OU spending time, effort, energy, and money going out to Purcell? Why are you going to the after-school programs in Guthrie? Well, because we need to, right? Because you guys need help. You're I was told this one day that what you're doing is the feedstock for the university, right? And so whatever we can do to inspire the kids to want to do better on the Wednesday after the Tuesday that we've been there, that you have them engaged in saying, that was really cool about the robotics. Where do I learn more about this? How do I do this? How do I do that? So we're doing things on campus that we're getting a lot of schools visiting. And then we're also doing a lot of things where Stacy and Lisa load up the family truckster, and we take a bunch of college students out, and it's college kids talking to high schoolers all the way down to first graders. So it's a really, really, really neat program. And if you have not had them come to your school yet, talk to Stacy about it. We'll schedule it out, all that other kind of stuff. And the neat thing also about it is that we've also, we have a joint partnership with the College of Education. We did this 2 years ago, was the first time, and we basically turned the store over to the College of Education. So if you ever want to see Dean Garn sell a Lightning versus a 30-pin cable, it's pretty entertaining. No, we don't have to actually ask them to sell anything. What we do is we promote the college. You know, we talk about it. We've got these big window displays. We've got all these innovative technologies, and we really just try to put the focus to current students, future students, faculty, staff, alumni, whomever it is, Joe Public that walks in and says, here's what's happening in the College of Education. The one thing that I always say to this group is that I always had this misconception that the College of Education just taught 6th grade math. That's all you were intended to do, right? Was just to pump out teachers. And I failed math twice at OU because I loved it so much I took it twice. But anyway, and botany, and any other kind of science under the sun. But there's a lot going on, right? There's a 21st century master's program. We highlight that. We highlight development for current teachers and all that stuff. So pretty neat. So check it out if you get a chance. Next on my list, lunch. Anybody hungry yet? We talked about that, right? So you don't have to go to Campus Corner. You don't have to go anyplace else. While you're at lunch, check out the vendor fair out there and see my good buddies at Tab Pilot. The sessions, real quick. ECH is for College of Education. It is across the oval, due northwest. It's, I think, the only building on campus besides academic building has a bell tower. And it scared the bejesus out of me the other day whenever it caught me. But anyway, you can't miss it. It's probably one of the most beautiful buildings, besides Gaylord, on campus that where some of the sessions will be. So ECH is across the oval. If you do need help, ask Ann. She'll be more than happy to take you individually.
Nice.
And now, I'm going to turn it over to T-Dog Cullen. She's going to talk about a couple things here.
All right. So first thing I want to talk about College of Ed, something that we're really committed to since Ann has been here this last year is that we always have been offering professional development for our undergraduate students. By the way, I don't mind. I see there's people standing. There's seats up here. It's not going to throw me. I won't make any passive-aggressive comments like I would in my class about showing up late. I'm all good. Come on, come fill the seat so that you're comfortable in time for the speaker to come because she's following me. So anyway, we have free professional development workshops for teachers. So every time that we offer a workshop during the week, Ann repeats it at a time either in the evening or on the weekend that you can come and join us. Also during lunch, I wanted to point out, I'm organizing something with Apple that we're gonna do an Everyone Can Code workshop sometime in November. We don't have the things figured out yet, and so I have a sign-up sheet in the, over by registration. There's a table over by registration, and I'm gonna be standing there to talk about our professional development workshops. Everyone Can Code and tell you about what we got planned there. And then third is the 21st Century Online Masters, which we're recruiting our next cohort for January. If you want to know more about that, I'll be there to talk to you about that during lunch. Additionally, during lunch, we have a seesaw work is going to be in the Gaylord Hall of Fame. Oh, they're going to be around registration. They're going to do a Seesaw Ambassador is going to talk about Seesaw. Additionally, there's 2 changes to the schedule. Vanessa Perez was moved up till 10 on her sketchnoting for non-artists, and that was a big hit yesterday, so I think you'll enjoy it. And radio killed the video star. Unfortunately, radio killed the session because it's not happening. So it's been removed from the schedule, so if that was the one that you were going to, we got a sick baby, and so they couldn't come. So anyway, so that's our professional development workshops. Come and check this out. They're constantly updating. We also bring in people sometimes like Adam Carr with Code.org does workshops and some other things. Our goal is to have the College of Education be open for you as teachers to participate, to get to know us. Doesn't matter if you went to some orange-colored school. It's all good. We're all welcome. We're all dedicated to improving education, and so we welcome you to come. Would you throw the next slide, please? All right, so the next slide, the Sketch app. Just in case you weren't familiar, on your badge, which would be nice if I turned mine around, you'll see the URL for the Sketch app. And what the Sketch app is a HTML5 page. And when you load it, it will prompt you that you can add it to your home screen. So if you look here, like for example, if you look up at the schedule, you can search by person if you wanted to go to my session, which is today at 1:45 in the College of Ed. In room 334, I believe, if I can read it, but that's all right. Anyway, if you want to go to my absolute beginner session, then you can click on the little button that says add to my sketch. On the next slide at the bottom, you'll see there's a little share-o button, which is a share button with an arrow. You'll see that you can share it on the home screen. And then that way, then it's on your home screen. It's easy for you to get at. You know, we're not going to kill trees. We're going to live the digital dream. So then on the next slide, I want to show you, we already talked about that. Next slide after that. I want to tell you that we did do a QR code scavenger hunt. If you want to see what it's like to do a scavenger hunt, here's your chance to participate. The QR code scavenger hunt puts you all over the South Oval. And so it'll be between this building and the College of Ed and places in between on the South Oval. You'll see QR codes. It is a circular QR code search. So what you can do is you can go ahead. Is the email right? Okay. So anyway, what you can go ahead, you could start with this code, or you could start with any of the other codes, and there are 9 total codes. By the final session, if you want, you can send an email with the 9 places, a selfie of yourself and your name, and we're going to put them in a drawing for some really awesome prizes. So we would love to see you go ahead and enter that. And if you find them very cheesy, blame me because I'm the one that did it. And people have told me they're kind of cheesy, but that's all right. I'm good with that. No, just a selfie so we know who you are. So that's good. It's verifying identity. Anyway, we couldn't figure out blood or fingerprints, so we went with selfie. Anyway, and so that is our QR code scavenger hunt. And I believe the next thing, have I forgotten anything, Miss Ann? Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Okay, so last thing before we introduce the keynote speaker, she asked that you all, if you have pencils or pens, please start scouring them up, whatever the word I was trying to use. So if you have a pencil or pen, get it out because she's going to have a little thing going on. And then seriously, all day today, please use this hashtag. Yesterday we had a bunch of pre-service teachers, and I told them they were kind of like the middle school dance, right? And today we got the teachers. It's kind of like the prom. So y'all know what's supposed to be going on? Anybody get that? Kim? No? It didn't work, did it? I thought the pre-service, middle school dance, the whole thing. But anyway, so be sure to use that all day today, all right? It'll be a lot of fun to get this thing trending. Take a lot of pictures of the buildings, the campus, whatever you want to take a picture of. Take a picture of your empty Starbucks. So let me get right to it. Let me get to introduce the keynote speaker. Lisa Johnson, well, let me back up real quick. If you ever want to feel unaccomplished in life, just listen to this bio real quick, right? Because I'm 45, and it took me 5 years to get out of this place. Lisa has 14 plus years of educational experience, ranging from teaching high school English and middle school math to developing international curriculum and supporting educational technology in the K-12 sector. She holds a master's degree in curriculum instruction and technology, was featured in the latest publications, iPads and Education for Dummies, and The Missing Voices in Ed Tech, and also co-authored the international hit Hot Apps for HOTS. That has garnered 20,000 plus downloads. Apple a Distinguished Educator and EdUtopia blogger, Lisa enjoys cooking up purposeful, engaging, authentic resources to meet the needs of a diverse population of educators. So, get on your feet, make some noise. It's Lisa Johnson.
I feel like I'm on the Price is Right now. I'm going to take the clicker from you. Now I feel like I'm on the Price is Right. You're the next contestant. What's your bid? Well, first of all, I'm very, very, very excited to be here. iPadpalooza is our event in Austin, and yes, I am a Longhorn. So I'm not going to say anything else about that, but I did stay in a red-clad room last night, and I was okay with it. I didn't break out in hives, so it was all good. All right. What's really, really interesting to me, and I'm going to get used to this. Okay, cool. All right. So, what I think is the most important thing for you to know today is there's no like magical secrets. Yes, my bio may seem impressive, but or not, and that's totally fine. It's not about that though. There's no secrets to this. It's just teaching is learning. And I really want to make sure that everybody is inspired today and everybody is excited to do things because all of you have the potential to do amazing things and are already doing amazing things. This is me, my first year of teaching. I did tanning beds back then. That was not a good choice. And the highlighting. And what I've learned from all of these things is teaching is really just learning, and you never stop learning. How many of you have done a strengths finder? Anybody? Okay, so when this first came out, I don't know about you, but I always have that do I answer it accurately? Do I not answer it accurately? Are they gonna put me somewhere else if I don't show up on this test? So please know that test anxiety never goes away, no matter if you're in school or out of school. And what was interesting about this Strengths Finder was Learner came up on mine. And I know that Learner comes up on everyone's, but I think that's something to think about. We're never stopping learning, even though we're teachers. And because I love reading, that's one of the ways that I've learned a lot of things recently. And what I also think is interesting is I know that in this day and age of everything's on iPads, and I realize we're at iPadpalooza, but I don't think textbooks, I don't think books in any way, shape, or form are dead. In fact, Amazon does okay for itself, and I love me some 2-day Prime. In fact, I ordered, have you ever used Zulily? Has anybody used it? Okay, so Zulily was awesome until I realized that it was going to take 6 weeks for something I ordered to show up, and I was like, 6 weeks? I'm used to it 2 days, and I have my books, and I can start reading them. 6 weeks is not even a thing in my repertoire anymore. A lot of the sessions that I've done, my Savory Slide session and things like that, they come from some of the best people out there. I've kind of garnered a lot of research. I still love doing research, and these are some amazing books out there. How many of you teach high school? Anybody? Okay, so that third book right there, that Overloaded and Underprepared, is phenomenal. And it's actually out of Stanford's Challenge Success Program, and it really, really speaks to what high schoolers and actually middle schoolers are going through today. So I would definitely take a look at some of those. But one of my favorite books that I've learned from is Austin Kleon's Steal Like an Artist. Have any? Awesome. Okay, so it's a fantastic book. How many of you are parents of small children? Okay, so if you're a parent of small children, I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, then you will probably know that there's not a whole lot of time to read, certainly not for your own pleasure or fulfillment. This book is very short, the words are big, it has pictures, you could read it in 45 minutes, you could put it in the bathroom, because sometimes I do that and I just hide there for a little while and stay there longer than I have to just to get some peace and quiet. So it's a fantastic book. And this gentleman right here is actually Austin Kleon. And this is my favorite quote, well, one of my favorite quotes. And I think it's going to kind of lead all of us through my 3-part series today. And a lot of times when we're talking about things, really, we're just giving feedback to, kind of our past self. Hey, this is really something I learned. So what I challenge you today is to think about some of the things that you've learned this year, some of the things that you've learned over the past 10 years, 20 years, however long, and what can you do with that knowledge? And then also, how can you teach your kids to think that way as well? Oh, okay. Well, that looks slightly different. All right, so we're going to be talking about 3 Ps today that you look like a puzzle now, but it's all good. So, there's a word wrap there. So perspective, perception, and I can't even read that now. Thank you. Perpetual iteration and introspection. It looks entire. There we go. Okay. So 3 things. I'm just going to put that down. I don't even need it now. So 3 things. Perspective. How many of you know what this is right here? Anybody? Kombucha? Does anybody drink kombucha? Okay. So it's a very acquired taste. Very acquired. It's good for your tummy, you know. It's like a bubbly flavored vinegar drink. And it's a big like health kick in Austin right now, but I know that it's also like spread across the country. Some people actually make them, and there's like yeast mothers, and I don't want to get into that. So what I want to challenge you though is to really be inspired by your surroundings and by just everyday things, because we're bombarded by all of these visuals. This is pretty, I like it, but what's even interesting is all of the caps are similar to Snapple. And so every day when I drink one, I'm like, oh, I do want to be a voice, not an echo. Like, that makes me happy. And so there's always these things around us that are inspiring. And even more so, much to my office mates' frustration, I have stored all of these bottle caps, and I'm going to use them in like a professional development, like, you know, when you use the fortune teller idea of blah, 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 in bed, not in bed, in education. So that's where I'm going with that. I feel like that's probably not a way to start my keynote. Okay. We're just going to keep going. This, and now like I'm obsessed with these like random ideas I see everywhere because they're all over. And they're in businesses, they're in just, you're bombarded with them. So this is at a restaurant. And first of all, like, that's funny. I didn't know that was a word. Apparently it is. It's Cowishock, and it's pulling into the last remaining parking spot only to discover a motorcycle there. But these are like the table tents for you know, your actual like seating and restaurants and things like that. So what's really cool about it is I learn a new word while I'm waiting for my food. All right, I'm getting to a point, I promise. This was at a hotel recently, and yes, I might have taken 8 of them. I did give them to a teacher, I promise. But all of these things were interesting to me, and I have my own ideas. So first of all, I want you to think about just random things that are interesting to you or that you collect or you have around the house and how you could use them with students. Then think about actually sharing that out with other people. So every time I pick up these like random things, I post them on Twitter and I post them on Facebook. And what's really interesting is people come up with even better ideas than I had. Like, I just picked it up because I was like, hey, how cool it is. There's like visual icons and colors. No, I had people say, oh, these could be different roles in PBL groups. And then we talked about, oh, we can put them on a plastic cup. And then, like, you know, you can have the supplies for that different role. So what I'm trying to get you to kind of think about is there's inspiration all over. Now, this is my favorite. There's a whole story around this red telephone. How many of you are slightly obsessed with like nostalgia of like typewriters and like old things like that? Okay, so I am too. I love this red telephone, and it just happened to be in the tech services office. And what was interesting about that is they actually use it, something about testing fire drill sort of things, like it's still used somehow. But I begged to have it. And that shouldn't have come up that quickly. But okay, we're gonna move right on. So when I did a keynote, a mini keynote at iPadpalooza, the keynote was on nurturing the neglected sea. And I thought, ooh, okay, so we're talking about communication and kind of like playing with that whole analog digital. I have to have the red phone. I have to have it for my keynote. I used a just standalone picture because I couldn't actually get the red phone that day. And then when I went to ISTE, right after that, I ran into this lovely man. How many of you have seen these? I don't know if they're like typewriter rodeo sort of people. It's like, again, I told you I'm obsessed with this sort of like stuff. I think it's totally fascinating. So you pick a topic and get a poem. Well, of course, then I was like, I'm going to ask him to do a poem about a red phone, and like, we'll see where this goes. All right. So this is his, yeah, he vapes. Apparently that helps him to get inspired to write like poems on the fly. Hopefully oh, good.
Uninspired, perhaps. This is the red phone, unconnected. meaning well, but without a dial pad, basically useless. And devoid of any semblance of GPS, so it's got that working against it too, but somehow this thing reeks of Soviet-era desires for the world. In one long phone call, presidents and comrades alike picking it up, ordering airstrikes, and we all the while unaware. Yes, I'll accept those charges.
That's like on the fly. And just in case you didn't actually like see that because it was, you know, kind of read to you in a street, this is it. This was the typed up on the fly on red telephone. And he does them like, it's not like a, hey, come back in 3 hours, I'm gonna like scour the internet and get you a poem like from, no, these are entirely original, like typed up on the fly, and then he reads them, which is kind of amazing. Well, of course it didn't end there. When I got back to school, this is my tech person. So when I got back and you can please tweet him, he'll get a kick out of this. I know he will love this. So when I got back, I showed him the video and I was like, I need the red phone. Can I have the red phone for 24 hours? Can I just have it? And so and I showed him the poem, you just saw the video. Unfortunately, we just like barely missed each other that day. So rather than just being like putting it in my office, oh no. No, he decided that he was going to take it around Austin and take photos with it. Even more interestingly, there were a bunch of UT photography students up here this day, so they helped him stage it. So he learned something about photography by climbing up to this hill with a red telephone. But there are more. Over here, you see our lovely landscape. Over here, I believe that is Barton Creek. Over here is his dog. And over here is Batman. I don't know where he found Batman. I have no idea. So like it's become this thing about the red telephone. Even more so, I decided then, because I make these cards, because here's what happens, and I'm sure you'll understand if you're a large campus. I am at a campus, I have 220 teachers, and you know, we have turnover and all that sort of thing. So and I'm the instructional support there, they may not know me, I may not know them. So I always make this little card of like, hey, this is my face, this is how you contact me. Well, of course, I also need to make sure that there's a clear delineation. If something is broke, you call this phone number. If you need me to help you with a lesson or learn how to use a tool, then, you know, we're over here. Well, I thought that's where the red telephone ended until I walked on campus this morning. I'm sorry, I couldn't, I had to. But I wanted to get in, like, I was like, do the telephone booths work? Can I get in one? Can I take a picture? This is awesome. Now, yes, this was fun, but what I want you to really think about is what is out there that has a different perspective. What can you do? What objects can you find? What ideas are out there that you can bring into your classroom and freshen up your content and get kids engaged? There are so many things we can still do with that red telephone. We could write poems about it. We could, all matter of things. I am blanking on those things. However, you have a device in your hand. So what I would love for you to do right now for the next minute is tweet out to the hashtag something, and it could actually be a picture on your phone too, of just something that you have that you're like, oh, I could totally do this with this. Or it could be something about the red telephone. It could be just something out there that you have a unique perspective on that you can bring into the classroom. I'm going to give you I'll give you 2 minutes since I see a pause. Think about it. And then tweet out to hashtag IPLZA, capital O, capital U. You totally don't have to do flat Stanleys with a red telephone, but if you want to, that's fine. And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring this back up. All right. We're going to take a look at those as soon as we are done here. So, in the interest of time, that's all good. Okay. Now we're going to talk about perspective. So we were talking about perspective is basically how we see the world and all of those sort of things, how we see objects, how we see the world. But there's another piece to that, and it's perception. It's how people see us and things that we do, and that's super important. In fact, we're going to skip through this perception of meat. That exists, by the way. That is ginormous. That red velvet cake is the size of a forearm, and I really thought I could eat it all, and it did not happen. But it's even more than that. So this is my young son, and he's in first grade. And what's interesting about this is his face when he's just talking to me about his work. But the second that somebody else sees his work and values it, look at his face. I showed that to this. That was my timer for you to do the other thing. I'm a little OCD like that. Okay. What's really interesting about this is I showed it to her, and I mean, it brought tears to her eyes. And that's so important. We can't forget that. We can't forget that what is so important is the ability that kids know how their work is perceived. When I got to the high school, and how many of you seen Angela Myers speak? Anybody? Okay. So she talks a lot about you matter. And I am one of those people, I know from my Strengths Finders and my IOPT and several other surveys I've taken online, that I need lots of positive reinforcement. Like, that's just my thing. I don't need, a whole lot of other things, but I don't need like, hey, you look nice today. Like, I need to know, like, your work matters, or you did something awesome. Because a lot of the things that we do, we don't really hear back about. So what we did, and you should totally do this with somebody, because this has just like made my day. Wunderlist. How many of you have ever used the app Wunderlist? Okay, so what we did is Wunderlist is we added prompts. So in our prompts was, I am so thankful that, ... And there's a bunch of prompts from Angela Myers, so I just totally stole those. I didn't like reinvent them. And there's another one here, I highly valued. And so just working together, every time I see something with this person or did something, then we just kind of text each other back within this tool. And when I'm feeling like unappreciated or just having a bad day, I'm able to look at this and see how somebody else perceives me and my value. This is what it looks like when a student is able to really think about how they're perceived and how they want to be perceived. And this is using Shadow Puppet.
We've all internalized our issues. Isolation is something that, like Holden Caulfield, we've all experienced. It's a common issue. We've all reached out at some point to see if there's anybody who will listen to us, often without any success. This creates a cycle and we feel trapped, noticing that people will never discuss anything serious unless they feel like it. This has actually been happening to me. Over the past few months, I felt stress establish its presence in my life. And more often, I've been needing help to pick myself back up. I've been needing a listener. But I've found out, and we all need to know that these people exist, and they're closer than they seem. They're ready to open our mind to countless possibilities. Yes, the effect of simple listening is unique. You can feel the relief, the freedom to rest. Holden, myself, millions every day. We need listeners to continue on.
That project actually went into Catcher in the Rye. It was kind of a companion project. And I am going to go over here and not stand in front of a tree. Okay. My dear friend was signing up for a job, and this was her resume. And she sent it to me one night and said, hey, can you take a look at this and, give me some feedback? And I said, I can, but can I just redo it, and then I can talk to you about how I might do it. So I actually redid her resume for her, and I have 2 versions of it. And what was interesting is when I took this to some of our high school teachers, they said, yes, you've organized it and all of that, but what's interesting is when you look at a person's resume, there's a lot of things that you perceive about a person that are not written on that piece of paper. They're organized, they really want the job, they're creative, things like that. Now, granted, I realize that I did this one for her, so they do represent her, but nevertheless, there's a lot of things that people perceive that we're not actually saying. Did anybody see this come out? No? Okay. So what's really interesting is people make judgments and perceptions about things that aren't even ours, that we've just simply curated or collected. In this case, this was a meme, a summy card. I know it didn't originate with this teacher, but she had it on a Pinterest board. Parent Googled the school, her Pinterest board came up, and now we've made perceptions about her based on things that she didn't even create. Communication isn't just oral and written. It's nonverbal, it's listening, it's visual multimedia. And it's all of these things. We're talking about portfolios and resumes, how we communicate with those things, how we're perceived. Same thing with social media and the red telephone, of course. This is my one plug. I felt so strongly about this that I've been working on a book. It's coming out. It's taken me forever. How many of you have ever written a book? It's like super, it's the hardest thing I've ever done, especially being type A and like totally OCD. But it's a lot of these things. I feel so strongly about communication and the need for oral and written and nonverbal communication. So, how many of you have seen this transformation from student A to student B? We're talking about the fact that, yes, students need content knowledge, but now they also have to be effective communicators, and they have to be able to create and be able to collaborate. I'm going to move over here. So, out of 750 employers, when this survey went out, you'll notice that these 4 C's, these things of how people perceive us, how we communicate, and how creative we are integral to job hiring as well. So, what can you do with these things? Think about the perception and needs of your students, providing assignments that talk about empathy and self-discovery, and including multiple facets of communication, not just oral and written, but talking about how other people perceive us, how other people perceive what we do, what we curate, what we post. Finally, and I lost my, that says perpetual introspection and iteration. So, I love music. I absolutely love music. And I love listening to lyrics. And I pay a lot of attention to lyrics. Whether you love or hate Macklemore, doesn't matter. But he's got a fantastic song. It's actually called 10,000 Hours, and it references that whole idea of being an expert with 10,000. And the idea of like perpetual iteration and perpetual progress. So does Justin Furstenfeld, who actually played, has anybody heard of Blue October? Am I the only one? Okay, I'm just gonna go listen to Blue October and Macklemore. So Blue October he actually posted this on Facebook, but I think it's really important to think about, we can't just keep doing the same things and assume that they're going to be perfect. We have to continually do better. And finally, Austin Kleon, because I love Austin Kleon. And I want to tell you one last story, and then I'm going to have you do an activity before we go. So what a good artist knows is that all of these ideas don't just come out of the blue. They come from things we see. They come with people we talk to. They come from other people's perceptions. A good friend of mine started sketchnoting, and she sketchnotes like this. And when I saw it, I was like, that's fine, but that's not me. And so I kind of tabled that idea of sketchnoting. Then I walked into a classroom, and I saw this girl. Does anybody know what this is actually called? Thank you. Oh. And there's like a whole, Google bullet journaling, it's like a real legit thing. There are websites dedicated to it. Bullet journaling. It's fascinating. If you want to spend the rest of the day looking at bullet journaling, it's fantastic. So she also challenged me. She said, you know what, you do these awesome things with Legos, and you have these ideas, but do you ever think about how you get the idea and how it evolves and how you iterate things? It'd be really cool if you started drawing some of those things. And I said, okay. So I started that in one journal. And then I started doing something that finally started working for me. I love to read. I love to read professional development books, but what was happening was I was highlighting them and I was forgetting about them, or I was just typing nonsense into Evernote and I would never go back to it. So what I started doing is taking that idea and putting it into a journal, and I have it here as well, and making it my own. So I've taken kind of a blend of sketchnoting, a blend of bullet journaling, and every time I read a book, I will do my citations, you know, all page numbers and all those sort of things, and I'll have all of my ideas. Now, the beautiful thing about doing this is I remember things better. I'm able to go find things again, and I'm using that information. So I have something for you to try talking about iteration. It talks a lot about your own perspectives, and it is a fantastic model that I'll have Anne pass out right now to you. So this is called, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but this is actually a model. It comes from a wonderful book. It's called 50 Decision Models, and what I want you to do is play with it. So read the directions at the bottom, because I don't read directions ever. It's just a fault of mine. And then I sometimes do things wrong, and then I have to redo them because I did them wrong. So I'm just going to save you that time. How many of you teach math? Okay, so this obviously will naturally, you know, you'll gravitate to this, but this is one of my favorite models. Now, you'll see you've got global, local, form, content, team, individual, and body and brain. Bless you. And what's really cool about this is you can fill it out for yourself and your own interpretations and your own reflections about who you are as a learner right now. Now, one thing to know is on any of these, you only have, this is the direction I didn't read, you only have 10 points to give. So if you give 2 points here on local, you have to have 8 up here at global. Does that make sense? That was my error the first time I learned my lesson. So if it's 7 over here on body, then it's 3 over here on brain. And I'm also not going to tell you how to interpret it, because I think it's up to your own interpretations of what those words mean to you, and I think that's the important part of iteration and reflection, is having meaning on your own before you then gain meaning from others. So I'll give you, I think we have enough time. Yes, Anne? Wherever Anne went. Do we have enough time? Yes? Okay. Take about 2 or 3 minutes and actually fill that in for yourself, and then connect the dots. And if you want to, you can totally take a picture of it digitally and draw on it. You have a pen in your hair. It's still in your hair. Excellent. It's kind of like a mini StrengthsFinder, or at least the many perceptions of StrengthsFinder, or tendencies. There's about 50 of them in the book. They're actually all business models, which is really cool. They come from business and industries. Yeah. The book is like, I normally travel with it. The only reason I don't have it is because I gave it to our capstone teacher because she wanted to use it for some of the capstone classes. But it's really good for reflection. So after you finish, will you turn to your neighbor and talk to them about yours, and then also talk to them about what you thought those words meant and maybe why you drew it a certain way, or how, kind of compare and contrast a little bit. All right, 5 minutes? Good, that's all I got. Nope, that's fine. I got it. Huh. It's interesting. So I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to hopefully tie this up with a bow for you. I love circle stories. I love things that like come back to kind of where they started. No, you're still talking. All right. So what I think is really interesting about this is something I found through my Amazon cookie crumb trail, because I'll tell you, once you've ordered a few good books, they just keep suggesting more good books. And once you get in a good genre, then you've spent a lot of money and it's tied to your credit card. So it's like, hey, like you don't have to swipe it or go anywhere. It's awesome. But my point is that this is actually from a book that's 50 business models. And we've started using it with our secondary students because it's a fantastic way to be reflective. And I've talked about all different, our English teachers are so gung-ho about using this now. They want to use it with historical figures. They want to use it to compare and contrast political figures. They want to use it to have a kid look at themselves beginning a year and then the end of the year. And you're not married to these, 8 titles by any means. There's a lot of other ones. This is the book. If you're interested in it, it's on Amazon for like $10, and I normally travel with it because I love it and it's like a cute size. However, I lent it to our capstone teacher because I know that she'll be using it this year. And there's like 50 of these awesome models for reflection and introspection. It's just going to have to be how it is. So consider giving students the opportunity to do this, no matter what technology. Yes, you could totally do this with technology, but you don't have to. Finally, when you start focusing on how you perceive the world, what you perceive in the world, how others perceive you, and really thinking about how all of these things blend together, these things just start kind of coming to you. Kind of like that whole yellow, not leopard Volkswagen, but yellow Volkswagen. It's like, oh, I've never seen yellow Volkswagen. Oh, now I see this stuff all the time. This, again, it's okay. What might be interesting to you is I pulled all of the colors for this presentation because I was inspired by this bag that carries wine at Whole Foods. Little did I know that you don't actually sell wine at grocery stores here until this morning. So I'm not doing that to rub anything in. Totally not trying to rub it in there. Okay. Should have brought some in that case. I want you to remember these 3 things of perspective, how people perceive you and how people perceive others, and then just constantly being able to be introspective today. I'm going to go a lot more into the apps and different tools in my session Groovy Graphics, as well as my session Savory Slides, and talking about a lot of the visual literacy as well as the psychology of color. I'm very thankful to be here today, and I'm super excited, and I know you have about 9 minutes to get to your next session, so thank you for having me. All right.
I just want to refocus you just real quick on a couple things real quick as we're leaving. First thing is remember that helps if I have it turned around. Remember that the schedule is on the bottom. It's on our website, and that you can go ahead and look at that at Sketch. We are trending #1 on Twitter. Let's keep it up. You know what we want people to do? We want people to go, what the heck is iPadpalooza OU? We want them to click on it and see what we're learning today. This is how we change our positivity. This is how we change our positive message. Remember, ECH means that it's over across the oval in the College of Ed. And remember that lunch is provided starting at 12:15. I'm also going to point out, there's a lot of buzz going on about some deal and some of the vending machines here in Gaylord. And what I was going to tell you is I snagged one of those deals. And if you talk to me at lunch, I'm going to draw one of the people who talked for me at lunch. And then at our final session today, we are going to give away one of those deals. And so it's worth talking to me at lunch about coding and also the 21st Century Masters. So I'm looking forward to talking to you all. When you guys get over to your sessions, 10 minutes is going to be fine. That's what we give our students. But people who are in the rooms, just go ahead and start when you think you got your group. So thank you so much, guys. What? What? Where is lunch? Oh, lunch is going to be over here in a room like over near here. Yeah, it's in this building.